Shalom, shalom, Shaul Dog here once again with your weekly drush. This is Parashah 14, Va'era, I appeared. This is chapter 6, verse 2 to chapter 9, verse 35. I got a lot to cover here this time. Basically, it's the beginning of the plagues being put down on Egypt. And, well, Yah has a sense of humor. He does. If you're not in his covenant and you're going through a really rough time, well, maybe you could glean a little bit from this. Because I sort of feel sorry for Pharaoh and the Egyptians, the ones who worship false gods, like Christians and stuff. Because basically Egypt was Christianity. But anyways, I'm not here to talk about Christianity. That's another subject for another day. But anyways, let's just get right into it because I got a lot to cover here. I got 6 pages here. Okay, I like to print it out in the larger print and everything like that, and I just make notes and stuff. I don't like to write inside my copy of the scriptures because when I write inside my own copy of the scriptures, it bleeds through to the other pages, and it just gets to be a mess. So, and I know, they make those little markers that you could write on there, those little wax markers that you could write on your Bible pages with, and they don't bleed through, but then they, get a nice hot day. Leave your Bible in your car on a hot summer day with those little wax pens. The pages stick together. See? So that's why I do this. Highlight stuff and make little notes and whatever. But anyways, let's get into it. We're going to start right from the beginning here. Yahweh spoke to Moshe. He said to him, I am Yahweh. I appeared to Avram, Yitzhak, and Yaakov as El Shaddai, although I did not make myself known to them by my name, Yod-Heh-Vav-Heh, Yahweh. Also with them I established my covenant to give them the land of Canaan, which is Canaan. If you've been watching for a while, you know it's Canaan. Canaan is Canaan, okay? The land where they wandered about and lived as foreigners. Moreover, I have heard the groaning of the people of Israel, whom the Egyptians are keeping in slavery, and I have remembered my covenant. See, Yah never forgets. And even to this day, he remembers his covenant, okay? Even to this day. And if you remember the last drash, I was talking about, basically the parallels between what was going on here and our own lives. Well, we still have the same parallels here, okay? And, you're going to see the plagues here, and then you're going to see some similarity happening around the world also, okay? I mean, Yah doesn't change, okay? Malachi 3, Yah does not change, okay? But therefore say to the people of Israel, I am Yahweh. I will free you from the forced labor of the Egyptians, rescue you from their oppression, and redeem you with an outstretched arm. You know who that outstretched arm is? Huh? That's the Messiah, Emmanuel. Okay? And with great judgments. He's also the judge. Pretty cool, huh? But anyways, I will take you as my people, and I will be your God. Then you will know that I am Yahweh, your God, who freed you from the forced labor of the Egyptians. Okay, freed from the forced labor of the Egyptians. Like I said in the last drash, basically, we are under forced labor, okay? Look around you, okay? We say this is Babylon and everything, but, the Egyptian culture and all their gods and everything else came from Babylon. Okay, and it went from Egypt through Greece, through Rome, and then now you have it today. You have all the religions of the world, and Christianity's one of them. Where they worship the same gods as the Egyptians did. Only they have different faces and they look different, and they've been reinvented, but they're the same old gods of the Egyptians here. But anyways. I will bring you into the land which I swore to give to Abraham, Yitzhak, and Yaakov. I will give it to you as your inheritance. I am Yahweh. But Yahweh said to Moshe, we're skipping here, okay? Yahweh said to Moshe, I have put you in place of Yahweh. Okay? Now see, whenever you see Yah speaking of himself as a third person, you know that this is actually Emmanuel speaking of Yah. Okay? This is where the Messiah is speaking right here. And I've said that before too. So we could say, but Emmanuel said to Moshe, I have put you in the place. No, actually, Yahweh said to Moshe, I have put you in the place of Emmanuel to Pharaoh, and Aaron, your brother, will be your prophet. Okay, now we're seeing on earth as it is in heaven. Okay, we have Moshe and Aaron, and then we have Yah and Emmanuel, or El and Emmanuel. See how that works on earth as it is in heaven. He said, I put you in the place of Yahweh to Pharaoh, and Aaron, your brother, will be your prophet. Okay, you see. So Moshe was actually Emmanuel himself. He was Yah with us. If we were living in that time, if we were Hebrews, he was actually Yah with us at that time. You see, Yah can anoint a person to fill that capacity. You are to say everything I order you, and Aaron your brother is to speak to Pharaoh and tell him to let the people of Israel leave his land. But I will make him hard-hearted, even though I will increase my signs and wonders in the land of Egypt. Pharaoh will not listen to you. I will lay my hand on Egypt and bring my armies, my people, the sons of Israel, out of the land of Egypt with great acts of judgment. Then I will stretch out my hand over Egypt and bring the people of Israel out from among the Egyptians. From among them. The Egyptians will know that I am Yahweh. Okay, once again, we see hand. Okay, Emmanuel is a right hand of El, okay, of Yah, okay? So when he says, I will stretch my hand out over Egypt, that's what he's saying. I will send out my son over Egypt, okay? Pretty cool, if you actually read this, I had a face-to-face discussion with somebody. I thought he was a brother. I thought he was, he was a true believer and everything like that, even though he was, still using the English word for ISIS, which is Jesus. But every time I brought up anything from the real scriptures, the scriptures that the Messiah taught from, he'd say, that's the Old Testament. Whereas the previous two conversations, he was rather receptive to this stuff, But, he just shut it down. But, if you call yourself a believer and a worshiper of the Father, well, then you need to get into what's called the Old Testament, okay? You need to get into here and read it and understand it, or else you will never understand the New Testament. That's why we have so many people running around thinking that they're saved, but they're not, okay? Over 2 billion of them in the Christian church. Not one of them saved. Not one, okay? With the exception of one of the branches of the Church of God who actually keep the Levitical feasts and everything, but they still pray to Isis, and they still consider Isis their god. So I can't even say there's salvation with them, okay? But, you know them by their fruits. That's it. You know them by their fruits. You observe what they do, and you know if they're with Yah or if they're not. That's it. That's how it works. And, I don't want to hear any of you little whiners out there saying, don't judge me. I don't want to hear that crap, okay? Because we're supposed to observe the fruits. We observe the fruits and we judge the fruits. That's how we keep the body safe, okay? That's how we keep the body intact. That's how we keep the body from having any kind of cancer in it, okay? If a person is producing rotten fruit, that person needs to be removed from the body, excommunicated, kicked outside of the village gates. That's it. We're not supposed to accept these people. We're not supposed to bring them close to us, okay? I know the Messiah went and he broke bread with some of these people. That's great. He went and broke bread with them. Why? Because the Holy Spirit was leading him to these people. They were the lost sheep of Israel, okay? But let's continue here. Moshe and Aaron did exactly what Yahweh ordered them to do. Moshe was 80 years old and Aaron was 83 when they spoke to Pharaoh. Just picture these little old guys, these little old men, Pretty cool, pretty nice. how can you be mad at some elderly gentleman? You know, I mean, come on, you know. So I think they were the perfect age to go up there and speak to Pharaoh. Even in pagan cultures and everything like that, they look to somebody who is their elder with a little bit of respect. You know what I mean? So if they were some young 20-something-year-olds, then Pharaoh would probably have them thrown in the jail and everything to rot. But let's continue here. Yahweh said to Moshe and Aharon, when Pharaoh says to you, perform a miracle, tell Aharon to take a staff and throw it down in front of Pharaoh so that it could become a snake. Moshe and Aharon went into Pharaoh and did this, as Yahweh had ordered. Aharon threw down his staff in front of Pharaoh and his servants, and it turned into a snake. But Pharaoh, in turn, called for the sages and sorcerers. And they too, the magicians of Egypt, did the same thing, making use of their secret arts, which is black magic, the occult. Okay, demons, you know, Satan and his demons have the power to do just about everything except for give life, okay? So each one of them threw his staff down, they turned into snakes, but Aharon's staff swallowed up theirs. Nevertheless, Pharaoh was made hard-hearted. He didn't listen to them, as Yahweh had said would happen. Yahweh said to Moshe, Pharaoh is stubborn. He refuses to let the people go. Go to Pharaoh in the morning, and when he goes out to the water, stand on the riverbank to confront him. Take your hand the staff which turned into a take into your hand the staff which turned into a snake, and say to him, Yahweh, the God of Hebrews, sent me to you to say, let my people go, so that they can worship me in the desert. But until now you haven't listened. So Yahweh says, this will let you know that I am Yahweh. I will take the staff in my hand, strike the water in the river, and it will be turned into blood. The fish in the river will die, the river will stink, and the Egyptians won't want to drink any water from the river. Now, there's a great explanation for why it was blood, okay? Just bear with me. Let's absorb all this scripture first, okay? Yahweh said to Moshe, say to Aharon, take your staff, reach out your hand over the waters of Egypt, over their rivers, canals, ponds, and all their reservoirs, so that they could turn into blood. There will be blood throughout the whole land of Egypt, even in the wooden buckets and stone jars. Moshe and Aharon did exactly what Yahweh had ordered, and raised the staff, and in the sight of Pharaoh and his servants, struck the water in the river, and all the water in the river was turned into blood. The fish in the river died. The river stank so badly that the Egyptians couldn't drink its water. There was blood throughout all the land of Egypt. Now, why blood? Why wasn't it wine or root beer or, Coca-Cola or, milk or why was it blood? Well, the Egyptians in their occult practices would drink the blood of the animals that they sacrificed to their gods. Okay, so Yah basically said, hey, if you like drinking blood so much, I'm going to turn all of your drinking sources into blood. Then you're going to have your fill. You see, Yah has a sense of humor. He's like, you want to do all that disgusting stuff? That's fine. I'm going to give you an abundance of it. I'm going to bless you with so much of it that you're going to have, just get your fill of it. And then some. But, you need water to survive, not drinking blood, and especially the stench, from all the rotted fish and everything. If you ever been close to Lake Erie in the springtime, yeah, that smell, and you don't want to drink any of the water that's around that smell. It's just, ugh. Let's continue here. But the magicians of Egypt did the same with their secret arts, so that Pharaoh was made hard-hearted and didn't listen to them. Yahweh said, as Yahweh said would happen. Pharaoh just turned and went back into his place without taking any of this to heart. All the Egyptians dug around the river for water to drink because they couldn't drink the river water. I thought you liked drinking blood. Here you go. 7 days after Yahweh struck the river, Yahweh said to Moshe, go unto Pharaoh and say to him, here's what Yahweh says, let my people go, so they can worship me. If you refuse to let them go, I will strike your territory with frogs. The river will swarm with frogs. They will go up and enter your palace and go into your bedroom, onto your bed. They will enter the houses of your servants and your people, go into your ovens and kneading bowls. The frogs will climb all over you, your people and your servants. Then Pharaoh summoned Moshe and Aharon and said, intercede with Yahweh to take the frogs away from me and my people. Well, let's just stop right there. You want to know why it's frogs? Because one of the many Egyptian gods was in the shape of a frog. So Yah says, okay, you like frog gods? I'm going to give you a gazillion frog gods. How's that? Huh? You like drinking blood and worshiping frogs? Here you go. You have more than you could ever stomach. I love Yah. I mean, he's just got such a great way of doing things here, you know? If Pharaoh would have just said, hey, go on and just get out of here, that'd be great. But no, it's his greed. It's his greed. Without that slave labor, he can't build Egypt. He can't build all these beautiful buildings and everything like that and make it a thriving metropolis like it was. Okay, so he needs that slave labor. So he's greedy, because the more opulent Egypt gets, the more he grows in wealth. You see what I'm saying? And Yah's got an answer to that. He definitely has an answer to that. Okay, and we're going to get into that here. But Pharaoh said, please intercede with Yahweh. Take the frogs away from me and my people. I'll let the people go and sacrifice to Yahweh. Moshe said to Pharaoh, not only that, but can you have the honor of naming the time when I will pray for you, your servants, and your people to be rid of the frogs, both yourselves and your homes, and that they stay only on the river? He answered, tomorrow. Moshe said, it will be as you have said. From this you will learn that Yahweh, our God, has no equal. The frogs will leave you and your homes, also your servants and your people, and will stay in the river only. Now, why did he ask to specify why did he ask Pharaoh to say, give me a time to do it? Just so he knew that Yahweh would do it. It wasn't some kind of freak thing, Yahweh was the one who was in charge of it. He was the one that made it happen. Okay? So Yahweh's showing his glory. He's showing his power right here, saying, I'm the creator. I am the only true God. That's what he's saying. He's saying, okay, you want to say you want the frogs gone tomorrow? Great. Frogs will be gone tomorrow. But in the meantime, they're going to stay, because a lot of people, I mean, if you're of a scientific mind, you're going to say, well, it's just a freak thing. And you're always going to find a reason for something that makes sense to you. But the fact is, this takes that reason away. Okay, you can make a reason, you can figure out something and apply it that makes sense to you and feel good about yourself and everything like that. Wonderful, of how they got there. But how they go away all of a sudden, that's a different story, But let me see here. Moshe and Aaron left Pharaoh's presence, and Moshe cried to Yahweh about the frogs he had brought on Pharaoh. Yahweh did as Moshe asked. The frogs died in the houses, courtyards, and fields. They gathered in heaps until the land stank. But when Pharaoh saw that he had been given some relief, he made himself hard-hearted and would not listen to them, just as Yahweh said would happen. Now, how many times do you see this in life, in just general life, okay? People go through a hard time or whatever. They call out to Yah. They just say, oh, God, help me, or whatever. Yah helps them, gives them a reprieve, and then they just go right back to doing what they were doing in order to receive the plague that they had put on them. It's no different. No different. There's a lot of pharaohs running around there, around this world and everything else. There's a lot of pharaohs running around who just go about and don't even regard Yah. They don't even know Yah. They don't care about him. But when things go bad, all of a sudden they cry out to him. And when he gives them a reprieve, they go right back to their disgusting behavior. And then all of a sudden, Yah has to put those plagues back down on him. Then they call out to him again. And, well, he might take his time with the reprieve then, But Yahweh said to Moshe, say to Aaron, reach out with your staff and strike the dust on the ground. It will become lice throughout all the land of Egypt. They did it. Aaron reached out his hand with his staff and struck the dust on the ground. There were lice on people, on animals. All the dust on the ground became lice throughout the whole land of Egypt. The magicians tried with their secret arts to produce lice, but they couldn't. There were lice on people and animals. The magician said to Pharaoh, this is the finger of Yahweh. But Pharaoh was made hard-hearted, so that he didn't listen to them, just as Yahweh said would happen. Now, why lice? Well, Egyptians, if you look at the old hieroglyphs and everything like that, the Egyptians were obsessed with their beauty, with their image and how they looked and everything else. Which means they had very clean bodies. They cleaned themselves and everything else. I mean, they were very clean people. They wore the makeup and all that stuff. They wanted to be the best looking people. They were just addicted to their vanity. So what happens? Lice. One of the most filthy thing that could ever touch your body, and they're just all over the place, just covering you. I mean, you can't even breathe without inhaling them. Think about it. Think about just being infested head to toe with lice. Just so disgusting. Everywhere you walk, it's lice everywhere. And they're biting and biting and biting. You're scratching. You're getting these scabs all over the place. Not too pretty. Your vanity's gone then. Especially when you're just constantly like, especially down there, I mean, think about it. If you're going into Egypt and you see a bunch of people just jumping around with lice and just scratching, they're covered with scabs and everything else, and they just look miserable, are you going to want to stay there? No. And that's the first part of the downfall of their commerce there, okay? Let's continue here. Yahweh said to Moshe, get up early in the morning, stand before Pharaoh. When he goes out to the water and say to him, here's what Yahweh says, let my people go so that they can worship me. Otherwise, if you won't let my people go, I will send swarms of insects on you, your servants and your people, and into your houses. The houses of the Egyptians will be full of swarms of insects, and likewise the ground they stand on. But I will set apart the land of Goshen where my people live. No swarms of insects will be there, so that you can realize that I am Yahweh right here in the land. Yes, I will distinguish between my people and your people, and this sign will happen by tomorrow. Yahweh did it. Terrible swarms of insects went into Pharaoh's palace and into all of his servants' houses. The insects ruined the entire land of Egypt. They prided themselves on their prosperity and their grandeur and everything else. And, it was a huge source of trade for tourism and everything else. I mean, that was like the place to go. I mean, they had everything there. You want fine silk, you want fine linen, you want anything, you go to Egypt and you get it. That's the way it was then. Well, here you have these people all covered with scabs and everything. The place is infested with all kinds of insects, and the place rots and stinks, and just who wants to even be there to spend even a dime, a shilling or whatever form of currency they had in Egypt at the time, their silver or whatever. I mean, think about it. Whoever wants to go there, come on, it would be like going to downtown Pittsburgh. Come on, it just stinks. It's just, I'm a Cleveland Browns fan, so I'm justified in saying that. I'm pretty sure if you're from Pittsburgh, you're just throwing it right back at Cleveland. But it's just like going in any smelly city, some disgusting city. It's just filthy, and you just don't want to stay there real long. You don't even want to be there. You just want to just get out and leave. Well, that ruins their commerce. Their commerce is just totally toast. They don't have all this outside money coming in now, So, it's just, Yah's attacking everything that they find near and dear to their hearts, basically. He's attacking everything and giving them abundance of the wrong things. Pharaoh summoned Moshe and Aaron and said, go and sacrifice to your God here in the land. But Moshe replied, it would be inappropriate for us to do that because the animal we sacrifice to Yahweh, our God, is an abomination to the Egyptians. Won't the Egyptians stone us to death if before their eyes we sacrifice what they consider to be an abomination? No, we will go 3 days' journey into the desert and sacrifice to Yahweh our God, as he had ordered to do. Pharaoh said, I will let you go so that you can sacrifice to Yahweh your Creator in the desert. Only you are not to go very far away. Intercede on my behalf. Moshe said, all right, I'm going to go away from you. I will intercede with Yahweh so that tomorrow the swarms of insects will leave Pharaoh his servants, and his people. Just make sure that Pharaoh stops playing games with the people by preventing them from going and sacrificing to Yahweh. Moshe left Pharaoh and interceded with Yahweh, and Yahweh did what Moshe had asked. He removed the swarms of insects from Pharaoh, his servants, and his people. Not one remained, but this time Pharaoh made himself stubborn, and he didn't let the people go once again. Now, the animal they sacrificed to Yah is an abomination, which means it would be an abomination to the Egyptians if they were to sacrifice this animal to Yah, okay? And, not the Egyptian gods and everything. But this animal would be an abomination because the Egyptians worshipped this animal, okay? And, we jump forward in Exodus, and we see Exodus 29:36. Each day offer a young bull or a calf as a sin offering besides the other offerings of atonement. Okay, it's a sin offering. Offer the sin offering on the altar as your atonement for it, then anoint it to consecrate it. Okay, that's in Exodus 29:36. Well, they were sacrificing a young bull, a calf. Okay, well, I'm pretty sure you understand what happened when they were actually in the desert when they left, correct? Well, they made a golden calf and they worshipped it in the name of Yah. Okay, why did they make that golden calf and worship it in the name of Yah? It's because they were raised worshiping Egyptian gods. They knew that Yah was, the one and only God, but they were in the Egyptian culture. They were slaves and everything else. So when they were bowing down to these golden calves and all these other Egyptian gods, they were doing it. They were basically worshiping Yah through those gods. You know what I mean? But that's why they made the golden calf, okay? Because that's an Egyptian god also. Then Yahweh said to Moshe, go to Pharaoh. Tell him, here's what Yahweh, the God of the Hebrews, says. Let my people go so that they can worship me. If you refuse to let them go and persist in holding on to them, the hand of Yahweh is on your livestock in the field, which means Emmanuel, wham, just smacking on the livestock this time. On the horses, the donkeys, camels, cattle, and flocks. They will make them suffer a devastating illness. But Yahweh will distinguish between Egypt's and Yisrael's livestock. Nothing belonging to the people of Yisrael will die. Yahweh determined the exact time by saying, tomorrow Yahweh will do this in the land. The following day Yahweh did it. All of the livestock of Egypt died. Not one of the animals belonging to the people of Yisrael died. Pharaoh investigated and found that not even one of the animals of the people of Israel had died. Nevertheless, Pharaoh's heart remained stubborn, and he didn't let the people go. Once again, he's hitting the commerce. Okay, livestock, that was one huge part of commerce at the time. Okay, and when you have flocks and herds and everything else, well, the more you have, the richer you are. And that was part of the major wealth of the land of Egypt. Well, Yah just struck it. Nobody's going to want to buy any kind of livestock if it's sick. See what I'm saying? Yahweh said to Moshe and Aaron, take handfuls of ashes from a kiln. Then let Moshe throw them in the air before Pharaoh's eyes. They will turn into fine dust all over the land of Egypt and become infected sores on men and animals throughout Egypt. So they took ashes from a kiln, stood in front of Pharaoh, and threw them in the air so that they became infected sores on men and animals. The magicians couldn't even stand in Moshe's presence because of the sores which were on them, as well as the other Egyptians. But Yahweh made Pharaoh hard-hearted so that he didn't listen to them, just as Yahweh had said to Moshe. Now see, here he goes again, once again, just attacking their vanity and just putting sores all over them. Now they have scabs and sores. Sores, open, pussy sores. Just think about it, just totally disgusting. Would you ever want to even shake the hand of a man who is like that? Think about it. It's just gross. You just look at it, you just want to hurl. And everybody, all the people, all of the idolaters in Egypt and their animals were all inflicted with this. I mean, this is nasty stuff. Yahweh said to Moshe, get up early in the morning, stand before Pharaoh, and say to him, this is what Yahweh says, let my people go so that they can worship me. For this time I will inflict my plagues on you, yourself, and all your officials and your people, so that you will realize that I am without equal in all the earth. By now I could have stretched out my hand, Emmanuel, and struck you and your people with such severe plagues that you would have been wiped off the earth. But it is for this very reason that I've kept you alive, to show you my power, so that my name may resound throughout the whole earth. And his name's still spoken today now, isn't it? Since you are still setting yourself up against my people and not letting them go, tomorrow about this time I will cause a hailstorm so heavy that Egypt has nothing like it from the day it was founded until now. Therefore, send and hurry to bring indoors all your livestock and everything else you have in the field, for hail will fall on every human being and animal left in the field that hasn't been brought home, and they will die. So now he's going to kill the livestock. Okay, that's going to add to even more stink. That's going to add to even more disgusting smells and everything else. That's going to just decimate their economy and everything. And their vanity's ruined, their economy's ruined, everything. Everything's ruined for them. You see? And we see this coming onto the United States. We see it going, in the countries around the world. The economy's crashing. Why is the economy crashing? It's because the people of these countries, the United States and all these other countries around the world, the people are idolaters. Okay, all bowing down their false idols, all worshiping their false gods and everything else, and they're not paying Yah any mind. So, what do they want? They want more idols? Guess what? Yah has allowed them to have more idols. Hey, have your fill. Have your fill. Hey, Mr. Gangster Rapper, you wanna have all the cars and the big house and all the women? That's great. That's great. Here you go. You have your fill. Here you go. And when you get that kind of abundance, you're happy for a short little while. Just a little bit. You're thinking, wow, I don't have to worry about money anymore. I got everything I want. And, well, once you have everything you want, then what's left? People are seeking to fill that void inside of them, that void of what they need. They're trying to supplement what they need with what they want. Okay, they need Yah, they need the Holy Spirit, they need salvation. Okay, but they're trying to supplement that with things that they want. A new iPhone, a new iPad, some new, a new car, or some new appliances or something. That's the way Satan works. He's doing a switcheroo on people, and he's switching them over to the flesh, which means you got to come away from the flesh. Don't even concentrate on that stuff. Okay, just concentrate on Yah. Seek first the kingdom. Like I said the last time, seek first the kingdom, and all these things will be given unto you. Okay, when you try to go out and get it on your own, then guess what? You're not going to succeed. You're not going to find that happiness. You're not going to find that peace. You're not going to find what you need. Okay, you're only going to find what you want, but once you have everything that you want, what's left? There's nothing left. But Yah is a never-ending well of shalom, well of life, okay? And you need him. And just like water, you need water, but you can never have enough, you can never have too much water, okay? Because once you've had enough, once the water's gone, then you need it still. You see what I'm saying? See? I hope I'm making myself clear here. Same with food. You could fast for a few days and everything like that. Wonderful. But you still need food to survive. You see? Those are your needs. But, if you were hungry, would you go buy a car and not eat? If you were thirsty, would you go on a vacation rather than drink? See what I'm saying? People are trying to replace all the blessings of Yah with the feeding of their flesh, and it's not working. It's not working. Okay? I want to talk straight to you right now, okay? If you are watching this right now, and you're thinking, yeah, you know what? I've been doing that. I feel empty inside. If you're feeling this way, okay? What you need to do is just approach the Father. Just say, Father Yah. Father Yah. I'm going to take my hands off the steering wheel. I'm going to give you control of my life. I ask your son, Emmanuel, to come down and steer my car, steer my life, just direct my life. And you know what? Take your hands off the wheel then. Take your hands off the wheel. No matter what problems you have in your life or whatever, ignore it. Seek the kingdom. Keep crying out to Yah, saying, Father, I'm yours. I'm in your hands. Things that you see and feel and touch and everything, what your senses tell you, that's totally different than what Yah's reality is, okay? When you give yourself over to him completely and you take your hands off the wheel, you pray without ceasing, you study his word, you obey what's written in his word. When you do these things, then you're sheltered, okay? You are sheltered. This is what's called being raptured, okay? You're raptured spiritually. Your spirit is no longer of this earth. Your spirit's there in the kingdom, you see? Your spirit's there. Your body's down here. You have your consciousness and everything like that, but your spirit's connected to the kingdom. That's a rapture. You're pulled away from this earth spiritually. And when you're spiritually connected to Yah, then nothing on this earth matters to you because you're in his covenant. You're under his chuppah, okay? To seek first the kingdom of heaven. Seek first Yah and all of his righteousness. And all of these things will be given unto you. Okay? There is no sinner's prayer, and you're not once saved, always saved. Okay? It's a journey. You have to take a step, and then take another step, and just keep walking. Okay? It's a path to the narrow gate. Okay? A lot of people think that you just say a prayer and you're going to be right there at the narrow gate. No, it's a path. It's a long, hard path. But it gets easier as you walk because you're coming closer to Yah and his kingdom. See? Take care, folks. I look forward to the next time.